What is the relationship between Atman and Brahman? And what is the relationship between the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost in Christianity? These are both concepts that are universally misunderstood. So, sticking with the Brahman and Atman concept, the reason that is misunderstood is it's on purpose. We're here in this illusory reality for the purpose to create ourselves. And how do we create ourselves is by the choices we make. And we wouldn't be able to make those choices freely if we knew the point and purpose of what this reality is. When I say no, I mean, you wouldn't do it if you knew. That's like enlightenment. So, lots of people talk about enlightenment, lots of people teach about enlightenment. But there are literally no one that is enlightened that actually teaches it that you can readily find, not on YouTube or anywhere else. And the reason is because enlightenment is the difference between book learning or understanding and actually experiencing it or being it. It's the same thing as racing a motorcycle. Everyone has seen on TV or whatever, seen people racing motorcycles, but very few people actually race motorcycles. But those that do race have experienced it. So this reality is meant to be confusing without knowing what reality really is, so that we can choose all different things without knowing what the outcome is going to be. And of course, the outcome is a manifestation of what the Atman really is. Brahman doesn't change, but the Atman does. But why does the Atman change? Because the Atman isn't fully developed, whereas Brahman is fully developed. Now they say, well, if you study and you learn it, that I've heard one example say there's a campfire and the little embers that come off are like the Atmans, but the fire is Brahman, and they're not separate from each other. There's no truth in that. That's just absolutely confusion, and just like Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. This is all confusion to keep you unaware of what reality really is. So what is reality? Well, reality is nothing exists. For instance, there's no physicality actually. There's no universe, there's no atoms and molecules and electrons and all that kind of stuff. That is this reality is essentially a dream by Brahman. And we participate in that dream of Brahman by accepting the role of an Atman. But in this reality, there's division. There's one apple, two apples, there's, you could just go on in division, mathematics, everything. But in your original state of being, where you project, you are projecting yourself from a source that, and this is not the source. The source is the same source as Brahman. And that particular source does not have one or two division. It doesn't have any of that. So they here say everything is one. Well, everything is one here because you could boil it down to saying everything is a dream. Everything emanates from Brahman. So you could say everything is one, all spirits, all everything. But that's only here. The source of the Atman that animates this physical body, which is a dream created entity, the Atman is completely and utterly separate from Brahman here. Or you could look at it that they're not separate because it's all the same. But they are separate in that here, in this dream reality, some Atman will manifest love, compassion, and others will manifest evil, murder, rape, pillage, plundering. Different variants of greed, hatefulness. And then you have incredible love, a personage of Jesus who died for everyone's sins. That's a kind of love that is difficult for most people to understand. But all of those actions emanate from a source that cannot be said to be Brahman. That's why there are words, Brahman and Atman. Those words exist to denote there's a difference. It's like Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. He did not say, if you've seen me, you've seen me. If he would have said, if you've seen me, you've seen me, that would be different than if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. In other words, who's me? Now in this convoluted, mixed up world, gurus are going to teach you that when he said, if you've seen me, the me is representative of ignorance. But that's just them trying to make sense of something that they've never experienced and know nothing about. But the truth of the matter is, the source of where everything arises here is inconceivable without having input from God, without having input from Brahman. And that does not happen without first a lifetime dedicated to love of God. Because you're not supposed to know these things. You're supposed to be ignorant of what your source really is, your essence. You're supposed to be ignorant of that. That's why the constant saying is, who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? That's because these are universally not known concepts. And this reality exists because Brahman explores the unknown. And the unknown is your source essence, the essence of the Atman. That is unknown by Brahman. And the reason it's unknown is it doesn't exist. Jesus referred to the essence of the Atman as a seed. It grows and sprouts and everything. And of course, that's a concept that people don't understand either. But the reason I say Brahman doesn't understand or doesn't know what the true identity of the Atman is because as a seed, the Atman has not developed. And there are no two Atmans the same, ever. And they start off from a source that is referred to as nothing, and yet it isn't nothing. But there's no such thing as time to God. There's no such thing as time from the source. But as a created reality that is an illusory reality that is created as from a dream from Brahman, this multi-billion year era exists in no time, and Brahman can make that stop in an instant, and then things are different from the time that the dream did start. But what is different? Well, nothing's different in physicality because physicality is a dream. And Brahman can have that dream multiple times, and every single time it's a different dream. And why is it a different dream? Because Brahman is the same, but the Atman isn't the same. All Atman start off from nothingness. They are not Brahman, because from the source of where everything emanates, there is no such thing as one, let alone two. That's why you can't say Brahman is all Atmans. That's true in this dream reality, but if you dig beneath the skin, if you dig beneath to get the source of the essence, that isn't part of the dream. This is an incredibly difficult thing to express. And I myself am limited in my knowledge of the English language, and I'm limited in, but my experiences are not limited. I'm not talking to you about things that I have not experienced. I'm not talking about experiences that I've never experienced. I'm telling you what I know And I didn't get this by studying, because there is nowhere to find this. This came from the source Brahman. Didn't come from within the Atman. These are all false teachings because we're not supposed to be aware. Don't you find it bizarre to think that you study and you go, okay, we're living in the Kali Yuga period, where evil is rampant, ignorance is rampant, and yet it doesn't matter where you go and study any kind of spiritual philosophy from any guru, they're all going to tell you the same thing, that Brahman and Atman are the same. You are God. And how is that possible? And yet we live in the Kali Yuga period, where ignorance reigns superior. So you are believing for some reason that in the darkest period of the Kali Yuga period, tens of millions of gurus and spiritual teachers teach the same truth, and for some reason you believe it's true. And you know this is the Kali Yuga period. I'm telling you, they're all wrong. I did not get this information from books. Yeah, books got me to a certain level. Gurus got me to a certain level. Studying the teachings of Christ got me to a certain level. But the love of God, which is in my source, thrust me further and further and further, without ever having a frustrated thinking that I'm not being fulfilled in my knowledge or whatever. I didn't care. Whatever it is I got was always good enough for me. I didn't care. But I never stopped either. You cannot find this information if you are searching for it because you value information, or you value knowing more than somebody else, so you use that information as a weapon to control other human beings. You're never going to find this. You find it because you love God and you love mankind. And there is not one in a billion that are privy to this information. So why am I telling you this? It's simply because that is the nature of the Atman. That is the nature of mankind, to express what they've learned, regardless of whether people can grasp the meaning, regardless of whether people can understand. All Atman try to express what they know to others. That's just the way it is. Anyways, I'd like to say I hope you enjoyed this one, but I doubt you did. This is a very, very, very difficult subject. Anyways, thank you for watching.